Hello and welcome to another constructed video. Today I'm going to be playing the Boogeyman. Anyone who's played on Magic Arena knows that by far the most popular deck is Mono Red, and there are a few reasons for this. One, it's very difficult to get Mythic wild cards unless you spend lots and lots of money, and this deck only has one Mythic in it, and she is definitely worth it. Hazoret the Fervent is insane. And the rest of the deck is really cheap. There are a few rares, Earthshaker Kenra and Goblin Chain Whirler, but even then, like, I didn't even have to use any wild cards on these. Since the Hour of Devastation draft format was up, I opened a whole lot of Hour packs, and so I just picked up my set naturally. So any deck that is extremely good and also only takes 4 Mythic and 4 rare wild cards is definitely going to be good. Just a few notes. Most of this deck is very self-explanatory. Kill the opponent really fast, and towards the end you'll probably have to do a bit of reaching with a resilient threat like Hazoret, or using something like Ramanut Ruins. It has recently become a little more popular to build the deck a little differently than this. People will cut down on the 1-drops and play a bunch of Rekindling Phoenix or Glorybringer. Because a few reasons. That wins the mono red mirror. Things like Goblin Chain Whirler and On-Crop Crasher can't keep up with those big, powerful 4 and 5 drops. But I don't really like that strategy because even if mono red is half of the field, I don't want to make my mono red mirror match up a little bit better in order to, in a way that loses me a lot of points against things like blue-white control, where you can't close quickly enough because you cut all your 1-drops. And the thing is, it obviously will help. If I run into someone playing mono red with Phoenix and Glorybringer, I am likely to lose, but it's not like the matchup even goes to 100%. Because sometimes I'm still going to win the die roll and play 3 1-drops by turn 2, and I'll just beat them up, and they won't have time to play a Glorybringer. So, like I said, I think this version is probably superior. It's been pretty easy to win with it so far, honestly. But, maybe I'll look like a fool if I jump into the videos and I just get beaten up by a bigger version of the deck. So, quick constructed as usual. These make for a nice length for a video, so I appreciate that. And we will jump right in. Okay, I get to go first. I have a lot of 1-drops. Sequencing with these is relatively important, but this hand is awesome. Yeah, you gotta play these guys first because they require revealing a pirate from your hand. Sure, I'll reveal that one. And you gotta play this guy basically last because of his raid trigger. One of the things that is kind of... Oh, okay, you get my lightning strike, that's fine. One of the things that is a little awkward about the Magic Online version of Mono Red is we don't have, say, Beaumont Courier. We just have all these pirate cards. The pirate 1-drops. Which means that, like, for instance, this guy is a little awkward because you can't just play, like, this. You can't just play this guy. Because you need the other pirates to enable him, or he just doesn't work. Okay. This is a little awkward. It's kind of tempting to leave Fanatical Firebrand back, because if my opponent uses Fungal Infection on either of those, I want to be able to kill the Saproling so that it doesn't trade with this Buccaneer. Is it worth giving up a point to play around Fungal Infection? I think it is. My board is pretty good, and I've got a fair amount of reach in my hand. Oh. They just have nothing. I suppose one thing that you can do in Magic Arena is to just, like, click through part of your turn very quickly and see if your opponent is passing priority. That is bad news. That's less bad news. Okay. This is how mono red goes. You do a bit of damage, and your opponent starts playing better cards than your 1-drops. It looks like you're falling behind and everything's terrible, and then you draw Hazoret, and... there's a reason this card has basically dominated Standard since it was printed. It is ridiculous. This is where my opponent is in a lot of trouble, because a block here wasn't great. They would still net lose 3, and they trade with my 1-drop. That's really bad. A block here is awful. They just chump. And even now my opponent's attacks aren't good, because what I think we're about to see here... yeah. My opponent attacks in, I block with this, and then sacrifice it before my opponent gets to deal damage. Let's see. I'm going to play a land. I want to have a total of 5 lands so I can start activating Ramanop runes even if something weird happens. I think I just attack with Hazoret here. Because now my opponent has to chump block. Let's see. If I would have attacked with... that was all wrong. I just actually thought it through. If I attacked with both, my opponent had to block. That was a terrible attack. Now what's the best way to do this? Is it better to have a Kenra out, or is it better to leave up a Hazoret activation or a Ramanop ruins? I think it's better to have the Kenra, which even more shows that my opponent would have just been dead. I guess they wouldn't be dead, but I could have very easily... they would have still had to block the same way, and I would have put them to 1. This is a weird thing to do. I'm going to possibly continue to walk into not finishing an opponent who should have been dead, and I'm going to play around Settle the Wreckage here. If they have nothing, this still kills them, but if they have Settle... okay. This is not really a constructed card. Instant speed is nice, but 5 mana is just way too many. Okay. I don't think there's a better way to showcase the power of a deck than by me playing poorly, screwing up playing with it, and still just smashing my opponent without them dealing anything back to me or even coming close to stabilizing. Okay, this hand's good. I hope I'm against a creature deck and not like blue-white control, because I've got a lot of burn, but 1-drop, 2-drop, getting a point of damage out of my mana, this is great. I won the die roll again, which shows what a skilled mono-red mage I am. I like this card. It feels very powerful to me. Obviously, I kind of wish it were Mog Fanatic, but it makes it more interesting that I have to choose. Ugh. That's really awkward. Sometimes I really hate Sunscorched Desert. I really hate playing with this card. Sure. Oh, but yeah, this is a more interesting card than Mog Fanatic, because Mog Fanatic doesn't force you to make any decisions. It just, like, does whatever you want at every time. But... okay. This is scary, so I'm going to make that thing go away forever. And these, like, Mono Red is a very good deck, and so it will win against a lot of things that your opponent might be doing. These are the best matchups. You get on the board, you attack for damage, your opponent tries to play various creatures that are technically capable of blocking, and then you back it up with burn removal. And just kill all their blockers and keep punching through for damage. Yeah. My opponent did not want to play anymore. Let's see, on board they were taking 5 down to 7, and then I had a Ramanat Ruins in play and that Lightning Strike in hand, so even if they somehow wrathed my board, I was still extremely likely to just punch through and win that game. Finally lost a die roll, and Sun-Scorched Desert, you haunt me eternally. Probably wouldn't have kept that hand if it were just a mountain, but... Oh, this hand's really bad. I think the average 5 might be better. Because I can't cast this on turn 1, I don't have another pirate. And then, so I'm basically Kenra into Grey Ogre, I can do better. Well, this is the same hand, but with less cards and a Ramanat Ruins, but I think I gotta keep it at this point. You know what? Sure. Tindergorge, huh? This is probably a Dinosaurs deck. He's probably gonna play a Drover the Mighty here. No, well, basically the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna play the Ramanat Ruins, because if I top deck a mountain, I'm gonna want to be able to get my Goblin Chain Whirler down. Yeah. This is the type of matchup that we lose. Opponent wants to race? That is fine by me. They might have a Magma Spray or something? No, just a commune. Okay. I would not recommend this on my opponent's side. Like, the way that my opponent wins is by getting down a bunch of creatures, and then once the board is stable, then they can start attacking. Punching through for 3 damage so I can smack back for 4 is not worth it on their side. Okay, that's pretty bad for me. Again, they're just trying to punch damage. So, this game is looking very bad. I'm very likely to lose, so I'll say that up front. In part because of this card. If they play it next turn, which I don't know why they didn't play it this past turn. I guess they really wanted to do the Savage Stomp, but like, this card is just very difficult for me to beat. Even if I kill it, they just shoot me back. I kind of want to get the Chain Whirler down, but it's going to be really difficult to get through this, and really difficult to get through that. They're both probably going to 2-for-1 me. I think I'm going to lead with attacking with Kenra. Sure. And then I'm going to play my Chain Whirler. This next turn, if my opponent continues to be aggressive, I can just take some damage, that's fine. Chain Whirler can eat either of these, and I can take 4. Later, if they hold back, what I'm hoping to do is I can deal first strike damage and then lightning strike this to not get... Yeah, this game... You never know when Hazoret is going to save the day, so I won't concede yet, but this game is really over. The double Savage Stomp with a very early Brontodon was too much. Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and get this off the table now. And now I'm not completely dead because I can play defense relatively well here. But if my opponent has even one more big dinosaur, which they are now guaranteed to go get. Sure, that's a pretty mediocre big dinosaur, but... Wish that this blocker were any other size. What they wanted to deal. I was worrying about how I was going to make it through next turn when they just play their 4/4 and it wraps my board. Yep, no Hazoret. I'm dead. Dang. I'm even kind of annoyed. I guess my opponent had the information. They knew that they had the Savage Stomps, and so they could decide that they were going to win that race. But in general, the way you win against mono red is you stabilize the board and then you start attacking them. This hand's great. It needs some lands, but this applies a ton of early pressure. Okay, that's a good start. Oh, I really like... One of the reasons I really like this card is because it does... I think I'm going to throw that away to upgrade my rigging runner. It's not my favorite thing to do, but who knows, maybe my opponent won't even block. Okay, now the question is, do I trade my Firebrand for a Sporecrown Thallid? I think I do. I think Saprolings being 2/2s is going to be really annoying, so... Another reason I love the very one-drop heavy version of Mono Red is because I can empty my hand so much more easily. Like, can you imagine if instead of 1s and 2s, these were all 4s and 5s? I was never going to be able to attack with Hazoret, and Hazoret, make no mistake, is the best card in your deck. It is the best card probably in this format. Maybe up there with the Scarab God. And so you want to play a deck that's going to maximize Hazoret. Don't overthink it. Don't build your deck in a way where your best card becomes mediocre. Nothing else that you're playing is worth it. And my opponent continuing to do nothing. I can't quite attack with Hazoret yet. If I'd been on the play, I would be able to, but... I'm just going to attack with this one. Worst thing for me here would be a Slimefoot. That is beatable. Although it will be very annoying in a couple turns. It's possible I was supposed to attack there. Okay, that's very scary. That might be the end of the game. I was not expecting that. Draw. Yep, this is pretty bad. So, going to activate Hazoret. I think I'm going to exert. I'll stop a Saproling from blocking. Let's see, if I do that, my opponent could block here, trade there, take 5. That's not good enough for them, so I am forcing a chump with this. Hopefully, in this last turn where the board is not very stable yet, yeah, I forced through enough damage. Now my opponent is going to have a hard time killing me before I can finish them off with Hazoret triggers. Or activations, I should say. Especially because I don't have to attack anymore. They're 4, they're very low. I could kill them just with my Ramanut runes. Oh my. Wow. I am almost dead on board. This was a really good draw. Well, it wasn't even that good of a draw. I just wasted a bunch of resources killing the Sporecrown Thallid. Opponent definitely should punch me for... Oh, that's... I'm probably dead anyway. It's just too many 5/5s. Yeah, double Dryad when I don't have any resources to kill them. I didn't draw any Abrades or Lightning Strikes this game. I'm probably just dead, but... Who knows, maybe my opponent decides not to attack for lots again. Oh yeah, this gives trample. Yeah, I'm just super dead. Well, that was annoying. Man, I didn't draw a Braid, Lightning Strike, or Magma Spray. I had 11 cards in my deck that just kill. Oh my gosh, 2 losses already. Jeez. I had 11 cards that straight up kill any of those Tender Shoot Dryads and very easily stabilize the board, but them's the breaks. That's really frustrating because this format is best of one, you don't get to sideboard, and so you need to hedge your deck a bit against everything. And so you play cards like Magma Spray. This hand is quite good. You play cards like Magma Spray because there are matchups where you need that type of effect, but if you play, say, against the blue-white control deck, it's so bad. Like, that is just terrible in that matchup. It's blank. But then you're also playing a bunch of cards like this that your opponent doesn't care about in the Saprolings matchup. And so it's really frustrating that an issue that mid-range decks have always had is where people talk about the wrong half problem. Half your deck's good against one thing, the other half of your deck's good against something else, and you need to draw the right half in the right matchups. And I feel like every deck has the wrong half problem in Arena. Like, even Mono Red, which is supposed to be a pure aggro deck, you still have cards that are not right for the matchup. Hoping my opponent just plays a lot of Dauntless Bodyguards, because I have a good card for that. Ooh. Normally I would play Kenra here. I kind of want to Firebrand, kill this, get down a Rigging Runner. Get some more use out of this Shortcutter ability later. I think I am going to do that. Punches a little less damage now, but keeps their board in check and also develops mine a little better. Sure. So I don't love them trading there and taking 2, but I think I'm still going to play the Chain Whirler because it's more efficient on my mana, because I would like to Kenra plus a Braid next turn. Yep, this is smart. They want to trade off. Obviously, I don't know the structure of my opponent's hand, but a lot of the time it's correct to actually to just take 2 and not trade there, because the way that these green-white decks beat mono-red is not usually the hard stabilize version. Yeah, this is why I'm very glad I kept a Braid around, because this makes it really hard to attack. And then if I hadn't done that, I would have been able to Chain Whirler plus Magma Spray, so I didn't really get much of anything done. Oh well. Oh, but yeah. You want to be applying pressure with your History of Benalia, like have a bunch of knights and get me with the pump part of it. And my opponent can't block, punch them for 7. This game is probably going to be close. My board is good, and I've gotten a Braid, so I can punch through one more blocker, but that probably isn't going to be quite enough damage to finish. That was just wrong. There's no reason to do that. Let's see. They could have settled the wreckage, but probably not in their Obzon Knights deck. They could have just some removal spells. I think the correct thing is to kill this, play the Firebrand, attack with everyone. I I assume I'm just getting it like double removal spelled here, like cast down plus seal away or something. If I get settled, I get settled, but that would be really weird. Yeah, this is more what I expected. So, probably the worst card that could happen to me here is a Lyra Dawnbringer, and I can even beat that if I draw land. Definitely beat that. Okay. I was thinking about all the ways I could try to handle this, and then I drew the best card in my deck. And the game was over. And that is why you play 4 Hazards, because nothing else does what that card does. This hand's just okay, but it's got 1-drop removal spell and a lot of reach in the lands. I'm going to keep it, but I'm not super in love with it. It's very easy for this hand to flood out. Marfall. This matchup is not great. It can be good if they are a type that's going to make a lot of X1s and you just Chain Whirler their board. Like, this guy's good. Even just as a blocker, just the first strike, but... Whoa. My opponent's doing something. Riddle form, huh? Did they maybe just have a bunch of pump spells and they're just gonna go hard on this Kumena speaker? Raz Kenta, sure. I was gonna say, I will block with my first striker, I promise. Ugh. Options here. Opponent is probably going to trade off there and take 2, and I don't want to keep getting beaten down by this Riddle form. I don't know if this Chain Whirler is actually going to do anything, but I kind of want to hold it in case it does. I could also just Abrade and punch for 4, but I don't love that. I would rather Abrade this at some point. Stop their pressure. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack with everyone, and I'm just going to play this very mediocre Gray Ogre. I just have a feeling I might be able to get better value out of this. You'll see. That might be wrong, and I'll really regret not having my first striker in play, but... Sure. I waited until it dealt damage. What the hell? Now I'm going to... Oh, they chose not to animate that. Okay. Well, I mean, this is still fine for me. Because I'm going to reveal that pirate that they just put in my hand. That was a really weird unsummon. If they had just casually animated the Riddle form, I was probably going to Abrade that, but... Sure. Okay, this makes a little more sense to me. Okay, I like that. Again, I'm not going to play the Chain Whirler now, because I'm going to Abrade this. They might have some sort of pump, I didn't think so. If this were standard, I'd be worried about a Blossoming Defense that would really blow me out there. Now this is great because I'm ahead on the race, they're down to 1 card in hand, drawing up to 2, and I have an Abrade for their Riddle form, so... And obviously I have a much better board. Sure. Okay. When we go to combat, they are probably going to try to block with the Riddle form, cast an Opt, or something like that. And we're going to try to make that not happen. Sure. Oh, damn it! Oh my god. I really hate Magic Arena sometimes. Why does it always tap mountains over sun-scorched desert? This has no purpose for tapping besides tapping for colorless. And it taps my mountains for a braid. It's ridiculous and very poorly programmed. Okay, deeper champion again, sure. I'm gonna force them to use their whatever it is immediately. Yep. Sure. Do they have another opt or unsummon or something? I didn't think so. Now they are very likely to be dead on board. Donna's Climb? Sure. Going to flip it. They could jump these guys. Sure, I'll take action. Yeah, it takes 3 mana to jump somebody. Okay. Now opponent's just dead. They're dead on board. They could have threatened an unsummon or something, which might have even made me worry about an attack. I might not have even attacked, because I can finish the game pretty easily with all my deserts. But now... the writing is all here. Okay, let's steal our... sacrifice this stupid sun-scorched desert. And that's why Ramanap Ruins is banned in Standard. It's not banned on here. Which, it's funny, so Wizards made the announcement that with Kaladesh and Aether Revolt will have a full Standard on MTG Arena. And so they will put in place the cards that are banned in Paper Magic and Magic Online for Standard. And it's just funny to me, because Ramanap Ruins is banned in Standard, and this format is weaker than Magic Online, or in Paper Magic. This hand's pretty dang good. I hope it's not the Mono Red Mirror, because I'm going to take a lot of damage from Ramanap Ruins. Or not. That is the perfect draw. But yeah, this format is weaker. There are fewer cards available. Everything in the format is weaker. And we get to play with this. It's ridiculous. Okay, cool. Probably just going to Firebrand that. It's not going to get bigger. I can wait to Firebrand it. I'll punch through for another point by attacking. I will look like a fool if my opponent plays some card that puts counters on it, but eh. Also, I don't need to Firebrand it. Who knows? Maybe they... oh, yes. Dang, that makes me want to hold and be able to Chain Whirler them. I don't think that's really worth it. I don't get to Firebrand, though. That is an interesting question. Do I wait and let them cast a bunch of Merfolk and then clean them all up because it'll be easier to punch through? Or do I just manual mode, I can play big creatures and then Hazoret and force them to chump a lot. Now that I know they're, like, dedicated merfolk, I think I'm going to just try to keep their board clear. I'm going to want to be able to Chain Whirler away a bunch of tokens. I wasn't attacking with Hazoret next turn anyway, so I don't need to use my mana super efficiently and spew all the cards out of my hand. I'm going to be looking for them to play, like, Merfolk into a Lord. I can Lightning Strike the Lord and Chain Whirler their board. Sure. This is exactly what I was worried about when I was thinking, and exactly the reason why I held the Chain Whirler. I feel very smart. Sure. Please put it there. Okay. It's a little annoying, but sure. I'm gonna go ahead and get this off the table. Oh, and I'll leave. Oh no, I can't post-combat it because the stupid Sunscorched Desert. Alas. Ah, yes. This card is so abusive to formats it's in. Just renders X1s basically unplayable all by itself. It's ridiculous. Okay, sure. I need another Chain Whirler. It's going to be very difficult to punch through all this. Well, asking you shall receive. Yeah, Hazoret doesn't do anything because I can't empty the rest of my hand, so yeah, I'll just keep doing this. When this card was previewed, I pointed out to my friend, it's like, this is Bonfire of the Damned for 1 on ETB. Bonfire of the Damned for 1 costs 3 mana. You get a 3/3 first strike for free. It's insane. Let's see. I can not get my first strike value, but that's fine because now I can play and attack with Hazoret. Deal. Oh, my lovelies. Kill everything. Now I think I'm very likely to win another land, and I can eternalize this Kenra. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's interesting because Mono Red is still, or the red aggressive strategies, I should say, because in paper it's like the black-red vehicles deck right now, and is sweet. Those decks are still good, even without Ramanop Ruins, but it changes which types of games you win. So we had the one game where opponent nearly stabilized, but didn't quite get there, and we finished them off, or like the game with the Dryads, if like one card had been different, I could have blocked and killed them with Ramanop Ruins. And you don't win those games anymore. So how I'm going to play this, my opponent may be Magma Spraying my Buccaneer, we'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this Rigging Runner. Opponent is probably playing Mono Red. I assume they're going to play an Earthshaker Kenra this next turn, and then I can Magma Spray it and be very far ahead. That works too. I kind of want to Magma Spray this because then my Kenra can get through. Basically turn this into 2 points of damage and keeping my Kenra around. I think that's worth it. I get shot in the face here for 1, but that's fine. I don't think opponent has Magma Spray. They should have killed this. I even told them I had the Rigging Runner. So, go ahead and get this down. Sure, my guy can't block. Okay, Now I'm winning by a lot of life. My board is very good. Opponent can't play a good blocker here. They could Chain Whirler me, which would be annoying. But I have the Lightning Strike for whatever they do. Still doing nothing, huh? Well, I'm gonna play my god then. Yeah! Oh my god. Hazoret has not been the problem. Hazoret has been very kind to me in this quick constructed league. Alright, last match for all the marbles. Lost the die roll, that's unfortunate, but this hand is really good. Needs a few lands, obviously, for Hazoret, but we'll draw those. We're playing 23. Odds are good. We got one. Let's draw exactly one more for a while. I'll show off my Fanatical Firebrand. Island could be more Merfolk. I've seen a blue-red, like, wizard spells deck. Probably blue-white control, if I had to guess. This matchup really isn't great. Sometimes you can get under them and just kill them very quickly, but they're very disruptive. Settle the Wreckage is a really tough card to beat. Okay, sweet. And they've got a lot of ways of dealing with Hazoret. And then at the end of the day, they just play a Lyra Dawnbringer and you can't attack anymore. And yeah. Matchup is not easy, honestly. Yeah, this card is such a huge difference for this type of strategy. Because it used to be that their removal was garbage, and even on later turns, they can really punish you for playing around Settle the Wreckage. Okay. I have not drawn a non-land card yet this game. Got this stupid Abrade that I don't have a good way to get out of my hand. Hazoret might not be attacking for a long time. Oh, yeah, so obviously when you walk into Settle the Wreckage and you attack with your whole board, you lose to that card. The problem, and what makes this matchup really frustrating for anyone trying to attack, is they also have Seal Away and often Wrath Capuchin. And so attacking with two guys is really bad, because then they get rid of them, and your attack didn't get you anywhere, and now you're just losing on board when they didn't even have the Settle the Wreckage. So Wrath and Seal Away made this deck a lot better against anyone trying to attack. They do not have Settle up. Oh my god. Okay. I was really happy with my opener, but we have had basically just really awful draw steps every single turn since then. Okay. Go ahead and get 4 more damage. The good news is they'll probably burn a counter on this stupid extra Hazoret. Not having anything on 3 was really painful. I mean, I guess they would have just censored it, but... Yep, sure. Okay, one of my victory conditions was hoping that their mana continued to not cooperate. Okay. Whew. When I see they're going to play a card in their main phase, I was terrified that it would be... Oh my gosh! Cards are not helpful. I was terrified that it would be a Lyra. I am really not in a position to beat that card right now. I guess the hope is I just keep casting mediocre spells and they counter them all and die to my onboard power. Assuming opponent has a counter here. Yep. Cancel, sure. People have to go to certain lengths in a format without disallow. Okay, down to 2 cards. If one is Settle the Wreckage, I probably just lose the game. I can definitely beat a Wrath because of my Abrade. So I'm hoping it's that. Okay. This format doesn't really have proper wraths, it just has settle. So I will continue developing my board. This is probably... They don't even have like a hieroglyphic illumination? They just had nothing? Damn. Maybe a Supreme Will, but they probably should have cycled that then. I'm one land away from even Hazoret being able to get through that. I don't really understand. They could have even, like, Ifnu Rivuleted themselves to flip their Azcanta. Oh, okay. That's what's happening. I hate that card. I hate that card so much. It's the absolute worst kind of win condition to give a control deck. It is uninteractive. It's almost impossible to interact with. In my opinion, very poor design and just a miserable type of card. Okay, now they're going to flip their search so they can dig to that approach really quickly. I think this is going to come down to if my opponent finds a good interactive card this turn, I'm probably going to lose. And if they don't, I have them dead right here. Oh, there's probably a good card on top. And if they don't bin the card, they don't get to flip their search, which means they're a long ways away from digging down. No, that isn't a very good card. I would have just Ramen rinsed them in response. That's an interesting question, whether I activate. If I draw Sun-Scorched Desert, activating is much worse. They're still in their upkeep. They should probably go to their draw. Okay, so it was the 7th card down. They did 1, and they're about to draw 2. So if they activate Search, they will draw the thing next turn. So let's see if they activate Search. That takes 1, 2, 3, 5. Doing that on their upkeep. I don't know about this. Let's see if they find a Settle the Wreckage. Did they just whiff? They whiffed with their Azcanta? Didn't even know that could happen in this deck. Wow, and they found nothing. Damn. Okay. I thought that game was over. They never found a Settle. They could have basically had anything on that last turn. So, okay. I started off like 1 and 2, losing a mirror and one of the weird matchups where my deck just kind of stalled out. And then we wound up with 7 wins. Yay, I guess. Not terribly thrilled with how rewards work on this. I get a mythic and a rare, neither of which I am remotely likely to want. But I doubled my coins, so we're doing okay. That's Mono Red. Might not record again with this. You probably got the idea from one video, but I'm glad that it did so well. Talk to you all next time.